Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. I am Alexia Nicole and I'm living my life by design. So as you can tell by the title of this video, or maybe not tell, we are talking about the specific things that you should do your research on before applying to all of these airlines. I know it's like, ooh, I fly this airline all the time, maybe I should apply there, but you really need to sit down and figure out your rhyme and reason as to why you're applying to this airline, or figure out the things that you need to look into before you make the decision of applying to specific airlines. There's a few certain topics, I think I have about 7 or 8 of them, that you should really do your research on, talk to people, Google, and see if this airline is going to fit the lifestyle that you intend to have as a flight attendant. So the first thing I'm going to tell you to do if you are interested in becoming a flight attendant is go to flightattendantcareer.com. Best website to see which airlines are currently hiring. It lists every single airline and it will be highlighted yellow if it is currently applying, and right next to the airline name it has the link to apply. So it's done the hard work for you, because I know going to the airline website and trying to find the careers page, some of them can be really difficult, but flightattendantcareer.com makes it super easy for you. So that is the first step to know which airlines are going to be hiring. I can tell you this though, as a former JetBlue flight attendant, I know that JetBlue will be opening their applications on January 1st, 2020. So get those resumes together. Go ahead and watch the video right here that I have right here, this one right here. I tell you how to get your resume together and all this prep to becoming a flight attendant. So watch that if you're interested. So I took a little note so I could stay focused and not get distracted while I'm doing this video. So if I'm looking at my phone, please excuse that. So there is no specific order of importance, but these are the things that I personally believe that you should look into when applying to airlines. So first things first. This is number one for me. This is probably going to be the only one that really has the most top importance. Well, everything is really important, but this one is super important. Pay, y'all. How much is this airline going to pay me? And is that really enough for me to maintain my lifestyle, or do I need to dumb down my lifestyle a little bit? So, or a lot of bit, if you're gonna be a first-year flight attendant. And I'm not saying just simply find out your hourly rate, your $20 an hour, because as you know, most airlines, you only get paid your hourly rate while you're in the air, or from door closed to door opening. So basically when the plane is in the air, but off that other time that you spend at work, sitting, on reserve, whatever it may be, you get a different rate than your hourly rate, which is per diem. So you need to look up and see how much per diem am I going to be making as a flight attendant at this airline. Another thing to consider, does your airline have any way for you to make commissions? So some airlines have credit cards that flight attendants are able to market while they're on the aircraft, and if they get a customer to sign up for that credit card and approved, then you get a payout from the credit card company, which is another big hustle in the airline industry for flight attendants. So when you're flying and you hear somebody making that credit card announcement and they're coming through the aisle asking if you want a credit card application, it's because they get paid for that, y'all. We get paid for that, yes. So there's plenty of people, I don't want to get sidetracked, but there are plenty of people making almost double what their regular salary could be simply off those credit card applications. Also, another thing to consider about pay is, what is top out pay for that specific airline, and how many years do I have to be employed to get to top out pay? 13 years, 20 years? So basically at every airline as a flight attendant, we do receive yearly raises. And of course that stops at some point in time. Some airlines you get your top out pay at 13 years, some it may be 18 years. So once you figure out top out pay, Okay, well, at 13 years, I'm not ready to quit or retire. Am I never going to get another raise again? That's another question to ask yourself. So you need to look and see if this airline pays you longevity pay. You know, if I'm here for 20 years, are you going to increase my rate? Like, what's happening? Also, you want to look into what is the style of pay. Is it hourly or is it trip for pay? There's certain airlines that pay you, it's called TFP, trip for pay. Yeah, I had to look at my notes. And that, I believe, it's like a mileage pay. I can't detail it for you because I've never been paid that way, but I know it exists. Southwest pays that way, and I believe Alaska pays that way. Those are the only two that I know off the top of my head, but there may be others. How do you translate that pay rate into a regular hourly rate? You need to look into that. Overtime pay, premium pays, international pay. Does the airline you're applying to pay you for working these extended style trips? You know, red eyes, all kind of things. Do they pay you for that extraness? I don't even know what to call it. Certain airlines pay you additional money for working a red eye, for doing an international, for being a speaker. These are things that you should look into when it comes to pay, not just how much are you going to pay me an hour, because you can't do regular 40 hours a week times 4 weeks. That's not how we get paid as flight attendants. So do your research. All right, what's also super important for quality of life are what bases do these airlines have, and what are my options of where I will be based out of as a flight attendant. Does this airline have a base in my home city, or what is going to be the closest base to me? Can I commute? Is commuting allowed at this airline? Okay, well, if I do have to commute, how does the non-revving work? Is it first come, first serve, or is it by seniority? And if I do have to commute, what is the commuting policy? What if I'm not able to make it on the flight? You know, am I going to get in trouble for that if I'm not able to commute into work, or I miss my trip, or I miss my reserve time? These are things that you must look into, guys. All right, the next thing, destinations. I know a lot of people want to become a flight attendant because they want to travel. Let's be real, okay? You don't have to fake the funk with me. I already know all that other good stuff about I love customer service and I love people. You just want to travel for free. I know it. I know it. So what are the destinations that this airline travels to? Do they do international, or are they just domestic? What is the routing that your airline does? What kind of trips do they have? And trips as in work trips. So this is a little more detailed, and it honestly might be a lot harder for you to find out. But for me, when I was a line holder in my previous airline, I had a goal set in mind of how many hours I wanted to fly. 100 hours for the month was my goal. For me to reach 100 hours for the month, it took me about 4 or 5 4-day trips, and I was good. Now, does your airline here at this current airline that I'm at, I could never reach that goal with 4 or 5 trips for the month, because our trips aren't long enough to accumulate that many hours. So if you know somebody that works at your airline, just say, hey, can you kind of talk to me about how easy it is for you to get your hours, or how many trips do you have to work, or how many days out of the month are you really working to achieve your hourly goal for the month? And something that I really had no idea about before I started looking into airlines was unions. Does this airline have a union, and is it a good union? Do I want to be a part of this union? Which you don't have an option. So if you do end up at an airline that has a union as a flight attendant, you pay union dues regardless. So there is no I don't want to use the union stuff going on. So if the airline has one, look into it. Most union contracts, I believe, are public, so go ahead and read it. You know, see if it seems like something that, you know, interests you, or do you want to go to an airline that doesn't have a union? You know, that is up to you, but it is definitely something that you should look into. Scheduling, y'all, super huge topic for flight attendants. What is the scheduling like? What is my flexibility going to be like? As a reserve, what does reserve look like at this company? How many days am I going to be sitting reserve a month? How many off days do I get for the month? How many guaranteed hours are you going to pay me for the month? Those are things that you need to look into, especially when you're first starting as a flight attendant, because you are going to be sitting reserve and you need to know what that lifestyle looks like. Some airlines have long reserve periods, some don't. So you may end up getting in line really quickly, and then you're gonna have to start looking into, okay, well, what is my flexibility with swapping trips, dropping trips, trading trips? These are also topics that take a lot more in-depth research, kind of knowing somebody on the inside that may already work for the company within the flight attendant capacity, and just talk to them. If they're nice enough, see if they're willing to sit down and kind of go deep into how that system works and what that flexibility will or will not look like for you. Also with scheduling, does this airline have a minimum amount of hours that I have to fly each month? Do they have a maximum amount of hours that I can fly? You know, if I have a goal of flying 180 hours a month, which is insane, but some people do it, you know, are you only gonna allow me to fly 150? Like, these are also things that you can either find in your union contract, or if you know somebody that already works at the airline, I'm sure they can give you some insight on how that works. All right, now the benefits, because we want to travel for free. Now, how does my benefits work and when do they kick in? If I get hired today, can I go on an international trip tomorrow? How does that work? Find that out. Also, what about my health benefits? Medical, dental, vision, 401k, how much are you gonna match or you're not gonna match? Those are important things to know, you guys. It's not just about flying and hopping on a plane and going to Africa or Israel or Dubai or wherever it is that you have all these great ideas of already. You need to know those other things that's gonna help you out in life at some point in time, okay? With my benefits for my non-rev travel, when can I start commuting on other airlines as a flight attendant? Or if I can only commute on my own airline, is it first come, first serve, or is it by seniority? Yes, I know I've already mentioned this earlier, but that's how important it is. Could you imagine going to an airline and being flight attendant number 30,001 and all these other people before you have seniority to non-revving? That's insane. Me personally, I like airlines that do first come, first serve, but hey, some of your favorites aren't like that. All right, and last but definitely not least, and I know this isn't something that a lot of people tend to think of until they actually get into the industry and look around and say, oh, well, this airline's kind of like that, and oh, well, this one does this for their people. What is the culture of this airline that you're applying to or that you think you are interested in? So definitely read up on the values of the airline. And I don't mean just like a brief read up so you can sound like you know something once you get to the interview. Really dig deep into what their values are. Do those values match your own personal values in life? Because if you're one way in your personal life and then at work you have to be another way, I don't think that's really a great match for you. You'll probably end up as a bitter flight attendant before you know it, if that's what you're getting yourself into. So the last thing I'm gonna leave you with for this video is these things that I'm telling you to do your research on. I mean to do your research on these before you get to the interview. These should not be questions that you're asking the interviewer at your face-to-face about medical benefits and, you know, things like that. Yeah, sure, you can ask questions about the culture of the airline to see what they say, but all these other things that's really going to benefit you are not questions that you should ask at the interview. This is why I'm saying do this research beforehand so you know if this airline is a fit for you or not. That's it. That's all I got, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed these tidbits of advice that I've given you. I hope you make the best decisions on what airlines to apply to. And I hope you end up with that CJO and you pass training and you earn those wings. Until next time, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Bye.